Sorry, I was thirsty. Taming Cinematic Skeins, episode 2. This is like the 4th time I've tried to do this. My dogs not calm down. It's like if I'm not playing with them and it looks like I'm talking to someone, they go nuts. It's like when I'm at work and I'm on a conference call, they're like, I found a squeaky toy. Do you want to play with it right now? And I'm like, it's the only time they pick it up is when I'm on the phone. But anyway, they're chill right now. Theo is sleeping on my leg and Benny is sleeping on the floor right there. So I think they will stay calm while I do this time. Episode 2. Okay. So, as I mentioned in my first episode, I'm a beginner knitter. And I knit kind of slow. And I hold my yarn weird. So, I won't always have a ton to show you, like finished object-wise or whatnot. But I am going to try to mention other things, like what I'm planning on making, or what I've dyed recently, or things like that, just to kind of keep things going so I stick to updating. That is the plan. And I have, like, in my head what I want to do with this, and I ramble and forget, but I'm going to try real hard. We'll see what happens. So, let's start off with finished objects, of which I only have a few. I did dye some yarn. I really only dyed one colorway because the way that I dye is I have to like have the inspiration hit me and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dye that right now. And the problem is I keep getting inspiration hits when I have to work. So this week I was like, oh my god, I want to dye yarn for this movie. And then I had to work and I didn't get any breaks, and then I had a headache because I get them a lot. And all the little ideas just kind of started floating away. So I know I want to dye yarn for this particular movie, but I need to rethink it, and I might just watch the movie again because it's one of my favorite movies. And I'll watch the movie again and write down ideas as I go, and see what happens. And then I have some vacation time coming up, and my original plans were canceled. I was going to go see Dead Can Dance in New York. And if you don't know who Dead Can Dance is, they've been around for a really long time. I don't know how to describe the music, but I can guarantee you that you've at least heard the woman that does some of the singing in Dead Can Dance. If you've watched Gladiator, the movie Gladiator, Lisa Gerrard, she's the one that makes all that beautiful music. If you've watched The Mist, Stephen King, that song they play at the end when everything, like, that's Lisa Gerrard. And that is actually Dead Can Dance, that song. It's like my favorite. I'm a jerk. If you've seen The Mist and you know what happens at the end, I laughed. And I know it seems kind of messed up when you think about it, that I laughed at that. But one, I hadn't read the book in forever, so I can't remember if that actually happened in the book. I don't think it did. I don't know. I said I would reread it, but I never did. But I laughed. Like, everybody in the movie theater was like, oh my god. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm a jerk. But anyway, the song that they play when that happens is Dead Can Dance. And I bought the tickets for it in 2019. And then COVID happened. And they postponed the show because they couldn't come here and COVID was really bad in New York. So they postponed the show to October of this year, and COVID. So they're not coming, and the show has been canceled. And so I have canceled my flight to New York because that was really the only reason I was going, and I've been to New York before, so there's not really much there that I need to, like, go see. I don't like doing touristy stuff, so I didn't really go to, like, all the touristy spots. And when I've been to New York, like, I went to Central Park because I like parks. So I did go to Central Park. The only thing that I did not do, and I've been to New York a couple times now, and I still haven't found it yet, is the Alice in Wonderland section in Central Park. I just want to see it and take some pictures, and that's one thing I haven't done. And I want to go to the Natural History Museum because it looks awesome, because I've seen it in 5 billion movies. So that's all I wanted to do. So my New York trip was going to be, I'm going to see Dead Can Dance, I'm going to go to museums, and then I'm going to leave. That was the plan. But anyway, it has been canceled. And I mentioned that, rambling, I mentioned that because since I'm not going anywhere, I'm either going to drive down to Austin because they have a yarn crawl. I don't need any more yarn. Or I'm going to dye yarn because I haven't dyed in forever. Except for the yarn that I'm going to show you now as my finished object. The one color. Well, two. It was for one thing, so I counted as one. But I have some fingering weight yarn left to dye. And I still have the yarn that I bought to dye self-striping that I haven't done yet. And I have some multicolored NEP DK, but I haven't decided what color I want to dye that yet. I need to order more yarn. And I need to order DK yarn because since I've done, and I will show you, I knit a pair of DK socks, my first pair of DK socks, and oh my god, yes, DK socks. And it's getting like colder in other places, not here really. So I figure people will be buying more DK than sock yarn, and eventually I do want to sell my yarn at some point. So I should probably go up a weight and dye some thicker yarn or something. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, let's get to the finished objects now that I've rambled for like 5 minutes. I dyed, like I told you guys, I dye stuff for movies. I dyed for the movie Cure for Wellness. This is There's Something in the Water. It's like grays and blacks and greens. But I just dyed that on mini skeins, but I am thinking I'm going to dye full skeins of it because I really like it. I like how it turned out. And then I dyed a bunch of shades of green, and then I overwashed it in gray to kind of give it a faded kind of look because that's what I wanted. Too much information. I should not share these things. They should be trade secrets. But I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm sharing anyway. And this is A Cure for Wellness. Because if you watch the movie, or even if you watch the trailer for the movie, you see like this shade of green like throughout the movie. So that's what I dyed. And it's just a variegated greens. And like I said, I overwashed it in gray. And then, while I was staring at this, I thought, like staring at this together, I was like, you know, I kind of want to do this darker. So I did. So I dyed another version for myself. Well, technically I dyed a 50-gram skein for myself because I don't need a full skein to do socks because I make all my socks short. I glazed it, and so you can see the difference. Like this is the original version and this is the glazed version, and look at that. Look at it. Right, so original, glazed, and then this is the mini. I think the mini looks better with the glazed version. I think it makes it pop more. But yeah, so this is my finished dye. This could actually be a repeatable colorway for me because I actually wrote down what I used this time. So yeah, I could redo this one. And this one, did I write it down? I didn't write this one down. But it's not, I mean, it's speckles. I just got to remember which dye stock I used to do the speckles. I used a couple of them, I think. Yeah, I used a couple of them. So I got to remember which ones I used so I can recreate this. I might do, like I said, I might do a larger one and then I'll just see what I use for that. And if it looks like this, then I'll know. So yes, this. Let's finished object for dyeing. Finished object for knitting, I made socks. And I mentioned last time I was going to try the DK Vanilla sock pattern that Crazy Sock Lady released on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. At least it was when I got it. I think it's still free. I made DK socks. And this is the yarn that I bought from Stitch's Boutique that I couldn't remember the name of. I just knew it was Malabrigo. It is Pleiades. So I love, first pair of DK socks. I'm going to make a lot of pairs of DK socks. They're so squishy and delightful. And this, see like the pops of blue and green, and sorry for the dog hair. I was wearing these earlier. Where's the purple? Oh, you can see it better on here. Little bits of purple. That is my new version of my Abyss colorway. Because I did another like super speckled large skein and I called it Abyss, but I've changed my mind. And this is now my Abyss colorway. But I just dyed mini skein of it to test and I like it, so I might repeat it. I gotta figure out like what I'm doing with the whole dye thing, because I said I would do small batches that I wouldn't repeat, but like so far I have done that, but I really only dye it enough for myself to use, and then I don't dye enough to like give to anybody. So I gotta work on that. But my problem is like I want to get it right before I dye more. You know what I mean? So, but right now I'm focusing on writing things down. So yeah, while I'm on vacation, I might dye more and try to write things down. And I also decided I need to get a notebook and start writing down the colorway ideas that pop into my head, because I want to do colorways for this one movie and I had all these ideas in my head and I just went, I might have mentioned that already. I'm not sure. Like I said, I've done this video a couple of times because of dogs, and yeah. So, finished object, socks. Works in progress. Moving right along, more socks and an acquisition. I went to West 7th Wool, as I tend to do, and I was there to pick up stripy yarn. They have a few skeins of mustache yarn left over from the yarn crawl, so I went to get some of that. And then I saw this yarn, which is Alegria Yarn, which means happy, and the color Pindo, which, if the translation I found is correct, it means queen palm, so these are probably the colors of that plant. I don't know, but it's Manos de Uruguay yarn. I'm covering things up. And my only thing is, I told you guys I don't like yellow. There is so much yellow. There is so much yellow in this yarn. And when I looked at the skein, or hank, whatever you want to call it, I know there's a difference, and I believe the yarn that they have in the store is technically Hank's, but I'm always going to call it a skein. I think it's whatever. It's a skein. When I looked at the skein of yarn, it did not look like it had this much yellow in it. It looked like a little patch of yellow. There's yellow all over this yarn. But I don't know. I still like it. Like, I like how like muted the colors are, and this so soft and squishy. So yeah, I'm making socks, and this color is Cloak Madeline Tosh. It was a one of a kind on the Mad Tosh mobile. But socks. And let's see, put this in the right bag so I don't lose it. Okay. And then this is my Glen Barrow sweater by Stolen Stitches, Carol Feller. And oh my god, the progress. So when you guys saw it, it was to the stitch mark, or the Progress Keeper, which is by Twill and Pine. And it's a little ruler on the other side. I got this one, I think this is the day one, and then I got the one that has the lunar phases on it, so it was like a set. Super cute. Twill and Pine. But look how much more I got done. All that progress. And I haven't even touched this in a couple of days. So I've separated for the sleeves, and now I'm just doing waist decreases. Oh, it's hoping I'll finish this by the end of the month. This will be my October sweater, but I'm proud of myself, like making all that progress. I'm proud of myself. So yeah. And then I have a non-knitting work in progress, and I'll have to show you a picture of it because I have not done much on it. So if you look at it, you'll have no idea what it's supposed to be. It is the Universal Monster, well, it was a stitch along, but I ordered the like full pattern because the stitch along's over, by the Witchy Stitcher. And I'm holding my phone kind of sideways because otherwise you're going to get a really bad glare. And I've gotten, like I said, when I find a hobby, I do all the things. So I bought all these things and wrapped all these with embroidery floss, and I bought like new embroidery scissors, even though I already owned embroidery scissors, because I figured I needed them in separate bags. And I bought like a little mini stitch thingy. And the one thing I couldn't remember, because I haven't done cross stitch since I was in middle school, was how to get the fabric, all the extra fabric out of the way. Whatever. I just used some clips. I don't know. It's a mess. And then I bought this really cute stitch minder on Etsy. I don't remember. Sorry. I'll see if I can find who it was I bought it from, and I'll mention it. But that's all I've gotten done. Because I'm knitting. So I don't know if I'm, like I said, this would be my October project, and I would finish it by Halloween. When will I put my knitting down? Because like when I have free time, I want to work on my sweater, or I want to work on socks. I don't want to sew and stab myself in the hand 5 billion times, because I'm a klutz and that happens. I don't know. It's a project. I don't know when it's going to get done, but it's movie related. I like horror movies. I especially like old horror movies. I have a slight Vincent Price obsession. So yeah. And there's an option, like one of the reasons I bought that is because there's an option to like one of the rooms in the house, like the entryway, there's a Vincent Price option. So I have a little Vincent Price that I can cross stitch in the room. Okay, so yeah, those are my works in progress. And then since I knew I wouldn't have a lot to show, I thought it would be cool to show you guys my knitting as a beginner. Remember how I mentioned that when I first learned to knit, I had started a scarf and I got about that far? I still have it. Nope, dropping things. Now, I've knit more on it since, because when I decided to pick knitting up again and try it again, I used the same scarf. So, let's see if I can find it. Okay, so originally, this is all I got done, and was like, no, knitting is not for me. And then when I decided to try it again, I did all of this. So, it's not bad. It's not bad. Garter stitch is a yarn that no longer exists, but I have 3 more skeins of it, so I am going to finish this at some point. It's going to be a scarf, and I'm going to do like tasseled ends, I think, in just black, because this yarn is weird. It unravels, I think, because of the ribbon. I don't know. But the yarn, it's actually wool, mostly. Well, not mostly. Kinda. Alright. It's Isaac Mizrahi craft yarn. And I bought it because I was like, ooh, it's black and it's got rainbows in it. I don't know why I like rainbows. Rainbow Bright. I blame Rainbow Bright. 157 yards, 40% acrylic, 31% superwash wool, and 29% nylon, polyamide nylon. But it's, like I said, it's black with like shiny nylon ribbon through it. But yeah, and it's soft and squishy, and I like it's good. This is the Pratt colorway. I think they're named after universities, so it's like Pratt University, which I've never heard of. But anyway, this is my very first knitting, and I still got the needles on here. These are those Boyer knitting needle sets. You see this? This. I hate this. I hate it. But this is my very first knitting needle set. that wasn't like straight needles. And I hate it. And even like when I decided to try knitting again, I used these and was like, oh, why am I doing this to myself? And then I watched a bunch of blogs. Norman Nimble needles. And that's how I knew to buy better needles. But yeah, Norman with Nimble needles. He's adorable. And oh my god, you should like subscribe. He's on YouTube. And I follow him on Instagram too. But so much help. And he's got like all these tips and like product reviews. And like Norman's awesome. Norman's awesome. And I love his accent. But anyway. But yeah, that's how I learned like to buy better needles. And I ended up buying the Knitter's Pride knitting needles because he reviewed, like he did comparisons. He did like Chiagu and Knitter's Pride, and then the other, like I know it's the same company, even though it's like Knitter's Pride and something like Knit Picks. It's the same. They're the same people. But he did like comparisons of all of them and like Addie's. And I think Haya's, and it's like this long comparison video, and like I watched that and was like, I'm gonna buy better needles. So I bought Knitter's Pride Mindful set, and I bought Knitter's Pride, they have like a birch set, because I like, he mentioned that, you know, for slipperier yarns like silks, things like that, wooden needles might be better. So I bought all the stuff, because pick a hobby, buy all the things. But yeah, Norman Nimble needles. So yeah, that was my first knitting project. My very first knitted full finished thing was, which bag is it? I love this bag. Day of the Dead Puppies. Oh look, there's a Great Dane. It's so cute. Okay. I would say where I got this bag, but I literally don't remember. I bought it at a vegetarian festival, which doesn't exist anymore. I saw it and bought it. And it's reversible, and it's dog photos. It's so cute. I love this bag. I thought about, like, changing it into, like, a knitting type bag, but I use this bag for everything. So it's just gonna stay my regular go-to purse type thing. Anyway, rambling. This is my Stephen West Boneyard shawl, made with Shamrock by West 7th Wool, and I made it bigger than the pattern said to because I'm tall and I wanted it to be long, and I still have another skein of this like I showed you guys in the first video. But I have learned that I don't wear shawls. I don't know why I made this. I think it's because, like I said, like when I, told people I was a new knitter, they recommended that I make a scarf or a shawl. So I made a shawl. And I've maybe used it twice. I am proud of it though. Like, I think I did well. But I am also thinking about unraveling it and using this to make a shirt that I'll actually wear. I think that if it wasn't a triangle shawl, like if it was more like the shawl that I found that I want to try, then I would use it, because then it would double as like something else. Get out of the yarn. Hey, nope. Theo has learned to steal yarn. I actually chased him the other day because he stole some yarn and ran outside with it. Alright, so if it was like this shawl, which is the Schuyler Shawl Scarf by Rastus Hsu. Tilt so you don't get the glare. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I think if it was like a rectangle type shawl that could double as a throw blanket, I would use it. So I kind of want to make that. And he's also got, I think it's the same dude, but it's, if you look at it on Instagram, it's called Origami Knitting. And it's like this 3D looking shawl, and I feel like I'm not there yet, so I can't attempt it, but you gotta look at it. Origami Knitting, just look for the tag. In fact, I'm gonna do it for you, because, oh my god, I love it. It's so pretty. Origami, where is it? I've got to show it to you because I want to make it so bad, and I'm like, one, it's black yarn, And I know how knitters feel about black yarn, but I've knit a little bit with darker yarn and it's not that bad. Oh, it is the same guy. Wait. Look at it. Look at it. Wait, do you see it? Do you see all that texture? It's called the Origami Shawl. I want to make it so bad. I want to make it so bad. I feel like I would wear it. I would wear it. So, yeah. Just, so pretty. Okay. Yeah, Rastus Hsu. It's beautiful. And Hsu is spelled S-H-U. No, S-H-U. H-S-U. It's pronounced Hsu. But the Schuyler Shawl scarf was that first one, the black and white one, and the Origami Shawl is, I want to make it so bad. Okay, so those are my finished things that I knit. And then I told you guys I did summer sock camp, so I'm going to show you all the socks I made. But first, because I'm showing you my beginner knitter type stuff, let me show you the first pair of socks I ever made. And let me tell you why I don't like them. I made them with Croy sock yarn. I don't think I like Croy sock yarn. I mean, it's okay, but it feels... Maybe I knit it too loose or something, but it feels cheap. It feels cheap. I do have more Croy sock yarn, and I have some other sock yarn, but it might be Hobby Lobby. I don't know, but these are my first ever socks. I've worn them like once. I don't like the yarn. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so that's those. Then I made, those were before summer sock camp. And these are summer sock camp. Well, no, I take that back. This one's not summer sock camp. I made these next. Aren't they pretty? This one was a mistake. Basically, I ordered this yarn off of Jimmy Bean's Wool, but the yarn I ordered is not this yarn. They sent me the wrong yarn. I didn't say anything to them about it. I was just like, whatever, it's fine. But the yarn that I ordered was the Unique Harmony yarn. Sort of. So basically they had the swatch for the Unique Harmony yarn as the swatch for this yarn number or whatever it was. So it was like the swatch color, like the swatch wasn't with the correct number. Does that make sense? Y'all know what I mean. They had the wrong picture up for the yarn that I ordered. So I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting the Unique Harmony yarn, which is just rainbow and no like separation. But it's okay because I do like these. Except I don't know why this transition is so weird. Like all the other transitions are slightly smoother than this. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. And then I used Black Sheep Dye Works, which is a dyer on Etsy, in Potluck to do the contrast. And this is the I'm So Basic sock pattern by Summer Lee, which is basically what I use for every single sock that I do. Okay, so now we're on to the actual summer sock camp socks. I used that Potluck yarn again. And this is Black Sheep Dye Works in Moss Tonal. And then I tried to, I thought I was being fancy. I tried to do like a little pattern to like spice up the socks a little bit. It looks stupid. It looks dumb. But I was trying to do a little something. What I was doing. But I like these. I think they're cute. I've worn them a lot. Then I was trying to go outside of my color comfort zone. And I bought these. This is the Knitted Wit, or Knitted Wit, I can't remember if there's a bow in it, in the St. Mungo's colorway. And I don't know, like I thought St. Mungo's was a hospital. And then she said it was a Harry Potter reference. Like it was on some website that it was a Harry Potter yarn. And I don't remember St. Mungo's. Is Is that the Herbology Hospital? St. Mungo's? I don't know. I don't remember. And it makes no sense because I've seen Harry Potter 5 billion times and I've read the books. But I don't remember St. Mungo's. Anyway, that's what that colorway is. And then the knitted wit yarn, it's thick for fingering, which I discovered when I don't do gauge for socks, or I don't swatch for socks, or I don't pay attention to the gauge mentioned in sock patterns. And I probably should, because this was tight. And then the contrast colorway is Cinematic Skeins, The Spice Must Flow, which I have modified a little bit because this one has kind of a pinkish orange tone, and I have modified it to be less pink and more orange. And that is what I'm using now. I would show you, but I don't have it twisted up. I think it's still hanging in the closet, so I haven't twisted it up yet, but that's my yarn. And then I made these, which I adore. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, I believe. I don't remember who it's by, but if you look on Ravelry for Broken Seed Stitch Socks, that's what this is. I will say, and the pattern also says it, go small. Because it says to use it's not really like a pattern, it's like a technique. It's more like a technique than a pattern. But it says to use the same, like, cast on, like, however many stitches you would normally cast on, blah, blah, blah. No, go smaller. Because I cast these on and they were huge, so then I had to go down a size. And, yeah. So I combined the technique with the I'm So Basic sock pattern by Summerlee and got this. And I love them. They're awesome. And this yarn is the Dragon Horde yarns, and I think it's the Spirit of Fire colorway. I think. I don't remember. I don't know what I did with the tag. I think it's the Spirit of Fire colorway. But I like these. Then I did these socks. I did try to be fun with the toe. And this is my yarn, and the thing that is special about these, this is the, what did I call this? We Do Not Vanish, my last unicorn. It's like purples and blues and teal, and there's little bits of green in here too. But anyway, this was my very first experiment with speckles. And I think I did really well because there's no pulling or flashing. I think I did really well. And I have more left. I actually split this into 2 because I was going to try to do 2 at a time magic loop, and I don't like magic loop. The socks, the first sock, those Croy socks, I made magic loop, and I hated it. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like knitting socks. And then for the rainbow looking ones, let's see, is it this one? Yes, this one. For this one, I started off magic loop, then I switched to DPNs, and you can see you see it? Like right here a little bit. It's like got a little bit of laddering in it. Then I discovered that 9-inch circulars existed, and that's what I used for the second sock. And 9-inch circulars is my jam. So all of my socks are done on 9-inch circulars. I do use magic loop for the toes. I don't mind doing magic loop for the toes, but not for the whole sock. Just no thank you. But yeah, I think I am really proud of my speckling with this sock, because it didn't do all the things that people don't like speckled yarn or variegated speckled yarns for. Mine didn't do that. I don't know how I got it to not do that, so I don't know if it's a repeatable thing. But I might try to do this colorway again, because I like when I posted it on the summer sock camp thing, a lot of people liked this one. So I guess it's a good color combo. I don't know. And then my favorites, my stripy ones. Aren't they pretty? I love these. I love them so much. The only thing I don't like, and this is something that Nimble Needles has a video on, and also I think Crazy Sock Lady has a video on it too. You see my stripes? How they're like... Apparently there's a way to not do that, which I need to practice, because, yeah, they do that. And I said when I was knitting them, I was like, okay, well, since it's doing that, I'm going to try to keep that on the inside of the yarn, and then I didn't do it. So it's on the same side on both socks. I meant to switch it around so like it would show up on the inside so it wouldn't be noticeable, but it's okay. I love these. The only thing I don't love is I made them just a smidge too short. And all of my socks are pretty much like ankle socks because I don't like long socks. I don't actually like wearing socks. But I like knitting them. So these are my favorites. This is, gotta mention the yarn. Madeline Tosh Cloak, which I showed you guys already, is my work in progress yarn. And Ash&Bumble Koi Pond. And I liked Koi Pond so much. I did like, let's see if I still have it. I was playing around with how I wanted to match this up because I like the yarn so much and I liked how the colorways were playing around. Let's see if I still have the picture. Yeah, I was like playing around with how I wanted to do it because I like the color so much. Like, see if it tilts. Like, I didn't know what pattern to use, but like, I like this yarn. If you want to check it out, Ash&Bumble Koi Pond. I went back and bought a DK skein because I was like, I'm going to use this in color work for a sweater at some point. Okay, so those are all my socks I made for summer sock camp. And I know it's not a lot of socks, but I mean, for a new knitter, I think I did pretty good kind of keeping up with summer sock camp. And I think it's like a week per sock. Like per sock set. So per pair, it took me a week to do a pair of socks. I think I've gotten to a point now where it doesn't take me as long to knit socks. I haven't really timed it so much because I just kind of do them like when I'm on conference calls that I don't care about, which I still shouldn't say that because I'll get fired. Don't want to get fired because then I can't buy yarn or knit things. So I think it's only taking me a few days now, like if I just focus on knitting. And these, I finished one in an evening. So like 2 days, 2 evenings. So DK socks. I think that's why I like DK socks, because one, they're super squishy, and two, I feel like I did them fast. So it's like, I know thicker yarn's gonna knit up faster, but in my brain I was like, I'm knitting faster. I'm doing so awesome. So I was super proud of these. So yeah, those are my things. And now, oh my gosh. Sorry, I've been sitting like this for forever. I stretch. Acquisitions. I bought the Cocoa Knits Maker's Board. Did I need it? Not really. Because I mean, I download most of my patterns on Ravelry, so I have them on my iPad. But I found that one, iPad doesn't stay charged very long. And two, when I was trying to do the color work for that Copperhead tee that I suck at, I found that I would rather have like a paper pattern so I have like something I could hide the other rows I wasn't working on, so I would stop losing track, because that happened a couple times while I was trying to do that swatch. I kept like losing track of what line I was on. Anyway, so I was gonna buy one of the Knitter's Pride ones, but when I read the reviews on it, a lot of people complained that it was only magnetic on one side. And when Cocoa Knits announced that this existed, they're like, oh, it's completely magnetic. And it is, and it's amazing. So my only thing is it's a little, like, see if I can, it's a little, I like things that are like sturdy. This is not. But I'm thinking that what I can do, I can buy like a thicker board thing or something to slide in here with the metal piece. That'll give it some more sturdiness, because I don't know, I'm picky. And I wish it was more gray than it is. Like, there's a gray one, which is this, And then there's a craft one, which looks like butcher paper. And the website says that these are made of washable paper. But then if you look at the description, it says washable fabric. So I think somebody's confused. I don't know. I don't know what they're made of, but apparently you can take the metal sheets out and wash this, which is kind of cool because I spill things. And it's completely magnetic. Like, this bit's magnetic, this bit's magnetic, this bit's magnetic. And the cool thing is, look at all this stuff. It comes with 4 of these, this rectangular one, and then 2, they keep sticking together. There's 2 of these round ones, they're stuck together. There's like the magnets that they include, they're strong. Like, they're stronger than like my regular magnets. Never trust the living. And then I bought the ruler and knitting. I don't know why. Do people actually use knitting gauges? Like, for real? I feel like this is just a thing that I'm gonna use to like hide, like what line, like to like highlight the line that I'm working on, but I'm never gonna actually use it as a gauge. And I feel like the Chiagu sets all come with knitting gauge thingies, and like the Knitter's Pride one came with knitting gauge thingies, and I guess these are useful if your needles don't have the size on them, but mine do, so I will never actually use this for what it's designed for. I don't know, whatever. Got a ruler, and then I bought some of the metallic stitch markers. Like, I know all of them are metallic, I think, but I thought these were pretty, and I like all things copper, which I mentioned. But yeah, and then I bought the row counter one, because I have a row counter, but I keep forgetting where it is, and this will be cool because it's magnetic and it'll always be right here. So I thought this was cool. Then, yarn. Ready for the yarn? Nothing too fancy. So I decided I wanted to make the Bright Axis tee. I downloaded pictures so I would remember to show what I'm talking about. This is the Bright Axis tee. It's made with self-striping yarn and then 2 skeins of regular fingering weight. And the designer used mustache yarn, and they had that yarn. Remember I showed you guys I bought some during the yarn crawl? I bought Bohemian and Tokyo Go-Go during the yarn crawl. Well, Amy was wearing the Bright Axis tee, and I've seen it before. Like, she posted it on Instagram back when she made it, and she was wearing it when I went to the store one day, and I was like, you know, I do want to make that. So I went back to to West 7th Wool to buy mustache yarn, and I bought this, which is the Shell Seekers colorway. And I bought this because I said I was going to go outside my comfort zone and buy like pastel colors. I swatched it and I hated it. And I bought, so yeah, this is mustache yarn in Shell Seekers colorway. And then I bought Cascade Yarn Heritage in China Blue, and Hedgehog Fibers yarn in Dew, because I couldn't decide which one would look best. And then, like I said, I swatched this because I was trying to figure out what my gauge was, and I got gauge for the pattern, but I didn't like it. Too far outside my comfort zone. Just, I didn't like it. They let me exchange it today, so, and it's okay because I will use this, because look, all right, so in the pattern for my size it says 2 skeins of mustache, but all, like, the smaller is just 1 skein, and then for one of my sizes it says 2 skeins, but it also says 460 yards, and the yarn, like, 1 skein is 460 yards, but it says to use 2. So I guess it's if like you're a little bit over, I don't know. But where'd I put it? So I could still use this one with this, right? It would go well with Tokyo Go-Go. And then the China blue that I bought would go well with Bohemian, right? So if it was like, if it only takes one skein of the self-striping yarn, I could technically do like 2 sweaters with these, right? All right. Well, anyway, I decided I didn't like this, and I went to West 7th Wool today and was like, can I exchange it? Because I obviously couldn't exchange this one because I already took it apart. And the cool thing is, the mustache yarns come in 2 matching skeins in a set. Like, this is technically 2 skeins twisted together. So, like, if I were to separate this, well, you know what? I'll do it. So, you undo this. And I didn't notice that until I went to... So, yeah, 2 matching sets. See? Isn't that cool? So, I thought that was really cool. Like, so, things will all line up, which is awesome. So, because I'd already taken apart one and, like, you know, knit with it, I knew I couldn't return it. So, I'm thinking what I may do is glaze this in a darker color, because then I won't completely wipe out the self-striping, but it'll be a different color. Or I can unwind it completely and over dye in a different colorway. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I could just make socks with it. I don't know. But it's went a little too far outside my comfort zone. But anyway, I went back today and I exchanged the one skein I got, and then I bought a couple more. Space whales. I love blue. So this is blue and green and purple. And you know how I said West 7th Wool dyes their own yarn? Well, guess what they had? Soundbite. With blue and purple speckles. Boom. Look at that. It's perfect. They were made for each other. I'm going to use this to make the Bright Axis tee. However, if I decide that the speckling is just too much, I do have some Explore Knits. I think it's Drift is the colorway. I don't remember. I have a couple over there. Because there's Don't Be Jelly, Drift, something else. It's going to bother me. Because I don't want to get up to get it. Because then the dogs will get riled up. But I want to remember what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. It's Tilt, that one, the gray. So, if all else fails, it will be gray with this. It's gonna look awesome. Or black. Ooh, gray. All right. So about that, I went back to Stitches Boutique and got more of this. Remember, I couldn't remember the name of it last time. It is Malabrigo and it's Pleiades, which I think is the star thing. I don't remember. But those DK socks that I made with the contrast toe, I decided I really, really, really like that. So I'm going to make a couple more with different color contrast toes. It'll give me something to do. Okay. Also at Stitches Boutique, I got Potion Yarns Curiouser and Curiouser. Blue. Blue and black. And I got this magical, oh, getting ahead of myself. So this, you know how I said I do have like intention in mind when I buy yarn? I did have something in mind when I bought this. I'm going to make this sweater that I saw Emily from McKinney Knittery wearing. Tilt. Isn't that pretty? So it's kind of like the Bright Axis sweater in that it takes one skein of the variegated, like the Bright Axis sweater is one skein of self-striping. This one is one skein of variegated and 2 skeins of regular color. This is the I wrote it down. Where'd it go? The Yellow Brick Rodeo by Mary Anarella. Gonna use this as my variegated. And then I'm thinking of using this gray that I bought today, or the gray that I was showing you by Explorer Knits as my main color. Probably the gray from Explorer Knits, as I feel like this is just too much dark altogether. But I don't know, maybe. Because I couldn't decide what shade of gray I bought. I bought these today, which I'll go to in a second. But then I bought, back to what I was doing before, from Stitches Boutique. I got Bad Sheep yarn, which is hand-dyed North Pole, Alaska, in the color Mushroom. And look at this amazingness. Look at it. I bought it to make socks. But the more I look at it, the more I'm like, what else can I make with it? Because it's just such a cool combination of colors. And it's pastel. Huh? I think I have some green yarn from West 7th Wool that I think this will look good with. I can't remember the colorway. I think it's moss. This will look good with that. Yeah, so that's West 7th. So this yarn is just a gray that I got at on Lamb Yarn Shop today, and I bought it so I would have 2 skeins of a solid fingering weight to use for one of the sweaters once I figure out what color I'm going to use. And then I bought Araucania Huasco sock in the color Acorn, which when I saw it, I wasn't thinking acorns, I was thinking latte, because my coffee grinder broke and I can't make lattes right now, which is okay because I'm actually a tea drinker. But I do need a new coffee grinder because I buy whole bean coffee because I feel like it tastes better when you grind it right before you make it. So the few times that I want coffee, I grind it and then I make coffee. Anyway, this reminded me of a latte when I saw it and I was like, I'm gonna buy that. I think that's it. Yes, that's it. And then, lastly, the thing that I forgot to do on my first episode, which is going to be an ongoing theme, is I'm going to ask you what you're watching. What are you watching? Because I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of shows. I binge watch things while I knit. So the problem I found with that is I like a lot of Korean and Japanese shows and things like I like violent things. And a lot of the Korean and Japanese things that I watch are violent. But I can't watch those while I knit because I'm getting to a point where I don't have to look at my hands while I'm knitting, but I'm not I tend to drop more stitches when I do that, so I don't do it all the time. But I do binge watch things while I'm knitting. So what you watching? Yeah. What did I last watch? Squid Game. So I watched the Squid Game and I literally watched it in a weekend. Understand how people take like weeks to watch a show. It's just not in me. I'm like, I must watch every episode right now. So I watched that, and I watched, oh my god, what's that other movie? In the Earth. I do not recommend In the Earth. It's just, I have a thing about this kind of movies. We'll go into it another time. But Squid Game was good. If you like violent Korean shows, it's good. And then there was a Japanese movie that I was going to watch and I didn't, which I'm going to watch this weekend. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I will probably mention it on the next episode. But I'm under an hour. I think my last video was a little, like an hour and 2 minutes or something, and I said I would go shorter, and I did. Not by much, but I did. I wanted to do my episodes like 30 minutes, but I rambled too much for that. Maybe I can get it down to 45. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, happy knitting, and I will talk to you guys again in 2 weeks. Bye.